There's a certain image people have when they think about hypercars. Clean showrooms, perfectly detailed machines, millions of dollars sitting in flawless condition under controlled lighting. But step inside the world of Tavarish, and that image collapses almost instantly. Because what exists behind those garage doors isn't perfection. It's chaos. Not accidental chaos, not careless disorder, but a dense, overwhelming concentration of machines that sit somewhere between destruction and resurrection. It's the kind of place that makes you question whether what you're looking at is brilliance in progress or ambition pushed to its absolute limit. At first glance, nothing feels complete. Hypercars worth millions are scattered in pieces, not displayed but dismantled. Burnt shells, flood-damaged systems, rare components laid out like fragments of something that may never fully return. Engines sit exposed, wiring hangs loose, panels lean against walls without purpose, at least not yet. It doesn't feel like a workshop. It feels like a paused moment in the middle of something massive, something unresolved. And the longer you look, the more a single question begins to form. Is this controlled, or is this too much for anyone to manage? That tension builds before you even step inside. The day itself begins with something strangely symbolic. A tire punctured not by something ordinary, but by a rock driven straight through it, as if the car itself forced the object into submission. It's aggressive, almost unnatural, and it sets the tone immediately. If something this unusual happens before reaching the garage, then whatever lies inside is bound to operate on an entirely different level of intensity. And it does. Walking into that space feels less like entering a place of work and more like stepping into a frozen storm. Every surface holds something valuable, yet nothing appears settled. Carbon ceramic brakes are stacked casually, hypercar components rest in open view, and entire sections of vehicles are separated as if waiting for a future that hasn't been decided yet. The air itself carries the identity of the place: oil, heat, rubber, metal, each scent layered over the other, creating an atmosphere that feels heavy with both effort and uncertainty. But within that chaos, patterns begin to emerge. You start to recognize the scale of what's actually happening. This isn't random. This is accumulation. Projects gathered over time, each one complex, each one demanding a level of precision that leaves no room for shortcuts. And that's where the real story starts to take shape. Because every car here isn't just a project, it's a problem. Take the presence of hypercar components, parts from machines like the McLaren P1, sitting quietly, waiting. High-voltage batteries, interior elements, structural pieces that, in another context, would be considered untouchable. Some of these components were removed not because they were unusable, but because they no longer fit within the strict systems they came from. And now, they exist in this in-between state, holding potential that only someone willing to challenge convention can unlock. They aren't dead. They're paused. That idea repeats itself across the entire garage. A car like a modified Mercedes platform, transformed far beyond its original specification, becomes proof that aftermarket precision has reached a level most people still underestimate. It works not because it followed the factory path, but because someone understood how to recreate that level of integration independently. And yet, even that success comes with layers of complexity that most people never see. Custom fabrication, recalibration, countless adjustments to make every system align. Then there are the builds that go even deeper into unpredictability. A platform like a BMW E46 M3 starts as something simple, a relatively affordable entry point, but quickly evolves into a full-scale reconstruction. Carbon components, engine work, complete rewiring. And just when it feels like progress is locked in, a small error appears. Something as minor as incorrect torque specifications becomes a critical failure point, and suddenly everything has to be undone and redone from the ground up. That's the reality here. Progress is never final until every detail is perfect. And then the intensity escalates again, because some of these cars didn't just suffer minor damage, they were nearly destroyed. A machine like the Porsche 918 Spyder represents a level of engineering that most would never attempt to repair once compromised. But here, even a fire-damaged shell becomes a candidate for resurrection. Burnt panels, compromised systems, internal damage that would normally end a car's life cycle, none of it stops the process. Instead, each system is broken down, analyzed, and slowly rebuilt. Cylinders are inspected, components restored, electronics recoded. What looked beyond saving begins to show signs of life again. That's where the line between repair and reinvention starts to blur. Because in this environment, rebuilding isn't always about returning something to its original state. Sometimes, it's about pushing it further. A car like a Lamborghini Murcielago, especially one that lived a previous life as a stunt vehicle, becomes a completely different challenge. Stripped of its identity, altered for performance in a controlled cinematic setting, it no longer fits the definition of a road car. Restoring it isn't just mechanical work, it's reconstruction of identity. Every missing piece has to be sourced, every incorrect modification reversed, every system brought back into alignment with what the car was always meant to be. And then there's the project that sits at the center of everything, the one that represents both the highest level of ambition and the greatest risk. The McLaren P1, a car most would never consider touching, especially after catastrophic damage like flooding. Every system compromised, every component exposed to conditions that could permanently destroy it. The safe decision would have been to walk away. But instead, it became the most extreme project in the entire collection. Not just a rebuild, but a transformation. The hybrid system removed, the performance targets pushed beyond factory limits. The entire concept of what the car could be reimagined. This is where the tension reaches its peak. Because at this level, the question isn't whether it's possible. It's whether it's sustainable. Managing one of these builds would already demand full focus. Managing multiple at this scale, with this level of detail, pushes the limits of what a single operation can realistically handle. There's no massive corporate backing here, no endless resources, just time, effort, and a relentless commitment to solving problems that don't come with clear answers. And that's what most people misunderstand. From the outside, unfinished projects look like stagnation, like abandonment. But in reality, they represent something else entirely: time-intensive progress. The kind that doesn't show itself in quick updates or visible milestones. Every step requires precision. Every adjustment requires validation. There is no rushing a process where a single mistake can undo months of work. So the garage remains in that suspended state, part chaos, part creation. And maybe that's the point. Because what's happening here isn't about finishing quickly. It's about attempting what most wouldn't even consider starting. It's about stepping into the space between destruction and possibility and refusing to accept that something is beyond saving. Every project carries risk. Every decision carries weight. And every success, when it happens, represents something far more meaningful than just a completed car. It represents persistence. Imagine walking into a space where millions of dollars in hypercars sit in various states of disassembly, not as pristine collectibles, but as wounded machines frozen mid-recovery, each one carrying a story that hasn't reached its ending yet. This isn't the kind of garage most people picture when they think of wealth or performance. There are no polished showroom floors or perfectly aligned cars under soft lighting. Instead, what exists here feels closer to a battlefield, paused in time, where engineering ambition collides with reality. Burnt-out shells sit beside flood-damaged drivetrains. Rare components lie scattered across workbenches, and entire builds exist in a state of uncertainty, suspended between failure and resurrection. It raises a question that lingers the moment you take it all in. Is this brilliance in progress or chaos that's spiraling out of control? Because from the outside, it doesn't look structured. It looks overwhelming, almost reckless, like a level of risk most people wouldn't even consider stepping into. And yet, that's exactly what makes it impossible to ignore. This is the world inside Tavarish's garage, where the line between impossible and inevitable is constantly being tested. What makes this story even more compelling is how it begins, not with some grand reveal, but with a moment so random it feels almost symbolic. A simple drive interrupted by a flat tire, but not the kind you expect. A massive rock driven straight through the rubber, piercing it in a way that seems almost unnatural, like the car itself forced the environment to give way. It's the kind of detail that doesn't just stand out, it sets the tone. Because if something that bizarre can happen before even stepping into the garage, it tells you that normal rules don't really apply here. It's a quiet warning that what you're about to witness won't follow predictable patterns. And sure enough, the moment you step inside, that feeling intensifies. The garage doesn't present itself like a workspace. It feels like motion has been abruptly stopped in the middle of something much larger. Parts are everywhere, but not in a careless way. Instead, they form a kind of organized chaos that only starts to make sense the longer you look. Carbon ceramic brakes are stacked beside shelves filled with precision-engineered components. Panels lean against walls like fragments of something waiting to be reassembled. Seats, dashboards, wiring harnesses, and electronics sit exposed, each one detached from the machine it once belonged to. The air itself feels heavy, filled with the scent of oil, rubber, and metal that has been pushed beyond its limits. It's not just a visual experience. It's something you feel immediately, something that tells you this is a place where machines are taken apart, not out of carelessness, but out of necessity. And then the details begin to reveal something deeper. You start noticing parts from some of the most advanced hypercars ever built. Components from a McLaren P1 sitting quietly among everything else, including high-voltage batteries that still hold value, still hold potential, even after being removed. It forces you to confront an uncomfortable reality about the industry itself. These aren't always broken beyond repair. Sometimes they're simply discarded because the system surrounding them doesn't allow for anything else. And that's where this garage becomes more than just a collection of projects. It becomes a place where discarded potential is given another chance, where the definition of finished is no longer controlled by manufacturers, but by those willing to take the risk of rebuilding what others have written off. As you move deeper, the projects themselves begin to tell their own stories, each one layered with complexity that goes far beyond what's visible on the surface. A Mercedes S65 AMG, for example, reimagined into a newer specification using entirely aftermarket solutions. On paper, that sounds straightforward, but in reality, it's anything but. Every component has to align perfectly, every system has to communicate seamlessly, and every tolerance must be pushed to its limit without crossing into failure. It's the kind of work that requires not just skill, but an understanding of how far you can go before something breaks. And the fact that it works at all is a testament to how far independent engineering has evolved. But that's just one example, because the further you go, the more intense the projects become. A BMW E46 M3 that started as a relatively simple purchase transforms into something far more complex. What begins as a rebuild quickly escalates into a complete re-engineering process, where every system is examined, modified, and refined. And just when it seems like progress is being made, something as small as incorrect torque specifications threatens to undo everything. It's a reminder that at this level, there are no small mistakes. Every detail matters, and even the smallest oversight can force an entire project back to the beginning. That's the reality here. Progress isn't linear. It's a constant cycle of advancement and setbacks, where every step forward comes with the risk of being pushed 2 steps back. And then there are the builds that seem almost impossible from the start. A Porsche 918 Spyder, reduced to something barely recognizable after a catastrophic fire. At first glance, it looks like a loss, something that should have been written off completely. But instead of walking away, the process of rebuilding begins. Not blindly, but methodically. Every component is inspected, every system analyzed, every possibility explored, and slowly, what once seemed beyond saving starts to show signs of life again. The engine, somehow still viable. The transmission, damaged but not destroyed. It's not just repair. It's reconstruction at a level that challenges what people believe is possible. Then comes the Lamborghini Murcielago, a car with a completely different kind of history. Once transformed into a stunt vehicle, stripped of its original identity, it now faces the challenge of being restored back to what it was meant to be. That process alone is complex enough, requiring the reintegration of systems that were never meant to work together again. But here, that challenge is embraced rather than avoided. Every part is reconsidered, every system rebuilt, with the goal of returning the car to its original form. It's not just about fixing what's broken, it's about reclaiming something that was fundamentally altered. And just when it feels like you've seen the limits of what's possible, the McLaren P1 project shifts the entire perspective. This isn't just a rebuild, it's a transformation that pushes beyond the original design. A car that suffered flood damage, exposing every system to potential failure, is not only being restored but reimagined. The hybrid system is removed, the engine is pushed beyond factory limits, and the entire concept of what the car can be is redefined. This isn't about returning to stock condition. It's about exploring what happens when you remove constraints and build something entirely new from what remains. At this point, the scale of everything becomes impossible to ignore. It's not just one project, it's dozens, each one demanding time, precision, and attention that most people would struggle to maintain even for a single build. And that's where the central question becomes unavoidable. Is this sustainable? Is it even realistic to manage this level of complexity without it collapsing under its own weight? Because the truth is, there's no massive team behind the scenes, no industrial system keeping everything moving. It's a process driven by persistence, by the willingness to continue, even when progress slows to a crawl. And that's the part most people don't see. From the outside, unfinished cars look like failure. They look like abandoned ideas, like projects that will never reach completion. But inside this environment, unfinished doesn't mean forgotten. It means ongoing. It means every day involves small steps forward, even if they aren't visible to anyone else. It's a kind of progress that doesn't rely on quick results, but on consistency over time. Because at this level, rushing isn't an option. Every system has to function perfectly, every detail has to be precise, and every decision carries weight. So the real story isn't about whether it's too much. It's about what it takes to operate at this level in the first place. It's about the mindset required to take on projects that most people wouldn't even attempt, knowing that failure is always a possibility. It's about pushing through complexity not because it's easy, but because it's worth it. And in that sense, what looks like chaos from the outside starts to make sense. It becomes a reflection of ambition, of a willingness to go further than what's considered reasonable. Because in the end, this garage isn't just a collection of unfinished hypercars. It's a space where limits are constantly being challenged, where machines are given a second chance, and where the line between impossible and achievable is rewritten over and over again. It's messy, unpredictable, and at times overwhelming. But it's also alive in a way that perfectly finished cars can never be. Every project carries potential. Every setback carries a lesson, and every completed build represents something far greater than just a working machine. It represents the idea that even the most damaged, complicated, and unlikely creations can be brought back, not just to life, but to something even greater than they were before.